we talked yesterday about law of sines, and we talked about what triangles are good candidates for law of sines, right? And we said we had to have one pair completely given to us, right? Like angle A and side A. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about, another way to solve triangles, is the law of cosines. The triangles that are good candidates for this are either if you have two sides and an included angle, right, given, or if you have three sides of the triangle given. So if you have a triangle and you only have the sides given, no angles, can you use law of sines? You can't use law of sines on that. So for that, you have to use the law of cosines. Okay, so the law of cosines too has three variations, and here they are. You know what? I'm just going to write down the first one. So it says a squared, which is a side, right? A squared is equal to b squared plus c squared. What does that kind of remind you of? It's sort of like the Pythagorean theorem, right? A squared is equal to b squared plus c squared. So basically here, you've used each side once, okay? Now, minus 2, these two sides, 2bc, cosine of the very first one, a. So if you start with a, you end with a, right? So a squared is, and then it's bc, and then you end with a again. So let's do the other version. Suppose you do b squared. Now it's going to be what plus what? A squared plus c squared minus 2 of the same letters, ac, cosine of what? B. And if you did c squared, same thing, a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine c. So do you see the pattern, right? Okay. All right, so let's do this first one. All right, look at this first one. You have three sides given. Right? So I'm going to use the law of cosines. Okay. It's sort of, okay, so it's not really up to you which one you start with. When you have three sides given to you and you have to find three angles, it's best, not it's best, you must start with the obtuse angle, okay? Start with obtuse angle. That means we have to find c first, right? So I start with c squared, and I go c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of c. Okay, so a is 9 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 9 times 7 cosine c. Now, let me show you how we're going to do this one. We're going to open up our calculators, right? Go ahead and turn on your calculators. And here, look at how we're going to do it. First, we're just going to do 9 squared plus 7 squared. All right? And how much is that? 81 plus 49? 130. Okay. Minus, here, we're going to do this. 2 times 9 times 7, right? 14 times 9, how much is that? 126. Cosine of c. Oh, you know what? I never wrote c squared. Why didn't I write c squared? So c squared is 12 squared, which is 144. Okay. Now, I need to solve for c here, right? Cosine of c. So first, I'm going to subtract 130. So 14, sorry. is equal to negative 126 cosine C. What now? Divide by negative 126, divide by negative 126. How much is cosine of C? Because it's 126 times cosine, so you have to divide. So what's 144 divided by 14 divided by 26, sorry. 14 divided by 126, sorry. Negative 0.111 basically, right? Okay, now how do I find C then? It's going to be inverse cosine of that number. Right. So how much is the cosine here? How much is C? I have a different answer. 96.4. Okay. And let's get in the habit of, let's round the angles to the nearest whole number. So C is 96 degrees. So C here is 96 degrees. Now that I have that one, can I now use the law of sines? Now I can use the law of sines to find the rest, right? So to find the next one, I use the law of sines. I say sine of C over C is equal to, let's do A, sine of A over A. So sine 96 over little c, which is 12, is equal to sine of A over 9. So sine of A is just like before, 9 sine 96 over 12. And that's 0.7459. So A is inverse sine of that. How much is A? Right, 48 degrees. Okay, question? I'll talk. It's 9 sine 96 over 12. So for angles, let's do whole numbers. It's easier. And then for sides, we'll do one decimal place. So that's 48. Now, angle B is easier, right? I just do 180 minus 96 minus 48. How much? 36. So I have B, I have A, and I have C. Okay, so for B, look at what we have given. We have two sides and the angle in between. That's law of cosines for you, right? So we're given two sides and angle in between. All right, and what is it that we need to find? We need to find angle A, angle B, and little c. Okay, if you have an angle given, I would start with that angle, right? Let's start with C. So C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine C. All right, so C squared, that's our unknown, equals a squared, 7 squared, plus b squared, 10 squared, minus 2 times 7 times 10 times cosine of c, and I'm given cosine of c, right? I mean, I'm given c, it's 73. So now look at the right side of this, right? I have c squared equal to, and then it's all stuff that are given. I don't have any unknowns. So I can plug this entire thing in at the same time, okay? Plug in all of it. All right, so to do that, I'm going to do seven squared. And, you know, if you want to do these in your mentally and plug them in, you can do that too. 7 squared plus 100 minus 2 times 7 times 10, so 14 times 10, that's 140, right? Cosine 73. Oh no. C squared is equal to 108.068. And then for C, we have to take a square root. So C is, how much is it? It should be in the tens. 10.4. Right, so C is 10.4. Okay, now that I found C, I can use law of sines to find one of the other ones, right? Now I could do sine of C over C equal to sine of A over A. Sine of 73 over little c, 10.4, is equal to sine of A over little a, 7. All right, so let's go ahead and find sine of A and then eventually A. We're going to do our cross multiplication technique. So I get 7 sine 73 over 10.4. And that's 0.6437. Anybody have angle A? 40.0, yeah, or we're going to do 40 degrees. How are we going to find B? Exactly. And how much is that? 67. For the next one too, look, we have two sides and the angle in the middle given, right? So let's go ahead and find B first. It's going to be B squared equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine B. So that is A squared, which is 7 squared, plus 5 squared, minus 2 times 7 times 5, cosine 36. So anybody have B squared already? Yeah. What do you have? How much? No, b squared, all of b squared. Is all of b squared 4.2? Okay. B squared is 17. And then b is 4.
Oh,
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. B squared is 17.369. And then when you take a square root, right, what did you get? 4.2, correct. B is 4.2. It's okay. So B is 4.2. Right? Which one should we do next? A? Let's do A. So let's do sine of A over A equal to sine of B over B. Sine of A over 7 equals sine of B over 4.2. Sine of B is sine of 36. So sine of A is equal to 7 sine 36 over 4.2. So that's 0.9796 and so on. How much is A? 78 degrees. So for C, we're going to do 180 minus 36 minus 78. Anybody else? What did you guys get for C? How much? 66 it is. Okay. So that's law of cosines. So the thing is, when you're given a triangle, you should be able to recognize whether you use law of sines, law of cosines, and it's fairly straightforward, right? So the homework for this is 27 to 33, and like I said before, just continue it, after the first part as if it was one continuous homework, right? And that will be due next time we see each other.